هلو گایز، چطورین بچه ها؟ خوش اومدیم یه ویدیو دیگه. این بار اومدیم با پارت بعدی داستان های واقعی. خیلی ازش استقبال کردیم. آجی من دیگه نمیدونم بخواد اینترو چی بگم، فقط همینجور دارم میگم. آره پس اگه این ویدیو رو سشه حتما این ویدیو رو دستم شده تو آدینس لایک کنین، چنل منم سابسکرایب کنین، زنگوله بغلش هم بزنین، چنل حسه من این بالا حتما اونجا ما رو فالو کنین. توییتر، ردیت، توییچ داخل دیسکریپشن هست، حتما اونجا سر بزنین، اونجا ما رو فالو کنید. Pass. Let's play.
Number 1. I was having a pleasant dream when what sounded like hammering woke me. After that, I could barely hear the muffled sound of dirt covering the coffin over my own screen. Number 2. I woke up to hear knocking on glass. At first, I thought it was the window, until I heard it come from the mirror again.
حاجی من کنارم آینه است. چون مادرتون آدم باشه. تازه از خواب بیدار شدم، الان قشنگ ساعت بهتون نشون. نه بتونیم ببینیم یا نه. ساعت 9:11 است. سریع اومدم ویدیو بگیرم. الان قشنگ آماده برای ترسیدن کاملم. لطفاً آدم باشی.
Number 3. There was a picture in my phone of me sleeping. I live alone. Number 4. My wife woke me up last night to tell me there was an intruder in our house. She was murdered by an intruder. Number 5. I never go to sleep, but I keep waking up. Number 6. The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long, rotting nails through my chest, her other hand muffling my scream. I sat bolt upright, relieved it was only a dream, but as I saw my alarm clock read 12:06, I heard my closet door creak open. Number 7. There's nothing like the laughter of a baby, unless it's 1 a.m. and you're home alone. Number 8. I begin tucking him into bed, and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed." Number 9. I always thought my cat had a staring problem. She always seemed fixated on my face. Until one day, when I realized that she was always looking just behind me. Number 10.
Sarah!
A girl heard her mom yell her name from downstairs. So she got up and started to head down. Sarah! As she got to the stairs, her mom pulled her into her room and said,
I heard it too. Stay in here and don't make a sound.
برای پارت قبل ببخشید، من تازه فهمیدم همین الان اومدم این تیکه رو، این پارت دوم این قسمت رو ببینم، فهمیدم کلا مایک هم خاموش بوده. الان روشن کردم، حالا مطمئن نیستم راستش مایک وب کم یه جورایی داشتم میگرفتم. حالا بریم انشالله درست. لپتاپ امروز کلا قاطی کرده بود، صدا رو نداشتم از روشم قاطی کلا. آره بریم ادامه رو ببینیم.
Back in the summer of 2016, I got my first job at 18 years old. I was excited about the work.
حالا داخل ایران باشه یارو تا 30 سالگی که نه، حالا 25 6 سالگی تو معمولا سن ازدواجه، یارو دستش تو جیب پدر مادرشه. بعد از اونم احتمال داره دستش تو جیب پدر مادر باشه. حالا ولی داخل الان فکر کنم داخل آمریکا باشه، کیت و اینا، فکر کنم آمریکا و کالیفرنیا اونور باشن. تو 18 سالگی مستقل میشن، یعنی کار برای خودشون پیدا میکنن، زندگی مستقلانه ای دارن و تنها زندگی میکنن. حالا تنها خونه، شاید خونه پدر مادرشون رو دستشون تو جیب خودشون، اینجوری دیگه استرس و اینجور چیزای پول و اینا ندارن.
But not about the commute. Without traffic, it was a 30-minute drive both ways. And I normally got off work around midnight, and the last thing I wanted to do was drive a half hour to get home. During the first few weeks, I was still getting used to my new routine, and one of the first things my mother told me was to keep an eye on my gas tank, and if I ever needed more, I should leave early and stop on the way, but never on my way back. I understood her concern. I was a petite 18-year-old female, and I looked even younger. But being who I was, I half forgot, half ignored that advice. And one night on my way home, I realized I legitimately didn't have enough gas in the tank to get me to my exit. I pulled into the first station I could find, not caring about the brand or the cost of the gas. I decided to make it as quick as possible, and only put in about $10 worth, just to get myself out of there. I swiped my card and began pumping gas, and once it got to the $10 mark, I shut it off and printed out my receipt. Thinking the worst was behind me, I was about to climb back into my car and book it home, when a voice came from the tiny intercom above the pump. "Ma'am, there was a problem with your credit card payment." I paused and glanced at the guy at the counter and felt a chill spiral down my neck. He was one of those tall, gaunt, sketchy-looking clerks, and was staring right out the window at me, beckoning me to come inside. I stepped back towards the gas pump and pressed the button on the intercom. "What's wrong with my card? I have a receipt. It went through just fine." I didn't try to hide the annoyance in my voice. I didn't like the look of this guy, or the way he sounded. "I just need you to come inside, ma'am. Your receipt is incorrect. I'm going to need to run your card in here."
مگه میشه ماشینا مگه اشتباه میکنه؟ حاجی من جات بودم $10 نقد میگرفتم میدادم بهش میرفت.
"Here," he replied, a bit too quickly. I looked back at the guy through the window in frustration. There was no way I was going in there, where I would be alone with him. He was staring at me wide-eyed, like some kind of creep. I stood my ground, pulled out my phone, and checked my credit card app. I held it up stupidly as if he could see it from there, and I pressed the intercom button again. It went through. I see it on my statement. I'm not coming in. "Ma'am, if you attempt to leave, I'll call the police. I have your tag number. Please come inside." I then shouted at him from across the parking lot instead of pressing the intercom. "Over $10 of gas, you're gonna call the cops? Fuck you. I'm leaving." I walked a few steps around my car and gave him the finger. I was just about to walk back around my car and climb into the driver's seat when I paused. He was mouthing something to me through the window. I would have ignored it, but he suddenly looked much more desperate than creepy.
تو برو، تو به تو چه؟ تو الان نمیگی مگه پولو واریز کردی؟ پاشو برو. رسیدرم نگه دار. 2 دقیقه زنگ زد به پلیس اومد دنبالت، بهش نشون بدی. به قول آلمان گاوی تو؟ نه گاوی تو؟
He kept beckoning me forward and calling out something that I couldn't hear through the window. I must have made a weird look, because 5 seconds later he slammed a piece of paper on the window where he had hastily written, "Guy in your car."
نه گاو نیست. خوب شد موندی. حاجی من میگم اینا کلا دست به یکی کردن این دختر رو بدزدن. مرد سوار ماشین شده که این بیاد این تو. غیر این مرد است که
I booked it inside the station, and once I was there, the clerk locked the door and told me to get down. He had his eyes on my car and had a gun in his hand. I squatted down behind the counter and watched the security cameras as a tall guy in sweatpants and a windbreaker nudged my back door open, slid out quickly and jogged away into the night. I started freaking out. Turns out the clerk had noticed the guy hanging around the side of the building on the monitors. And as soon as I pulled in, he made a beeline for my car. He crouched down and opened the door, and slid himself inside as I was swiping my card, being careful not to close the door all the way behind him, so that I wouldn't hear anything. The clerk had noticed all of this on the camera, and immediately called the cops, who arrived a few minutes later. They searched the area and my car, but were not able to locate the guy, or anything that would lead back to him. The gas station clerk probably saved my life.
ناموسن الان واقعنیش نکنید. درست واقعنی ترسناکه واقعنیش نکنید. عاشق شدید.
Because who knows what would have happened if I had driven off with that stranger in the back seat. I think the lesson here is obvious. It's not enough to be cautious. You have to stay alert as well. Be suspicious but not stupid. And always listen to your mom.
نبود. واقعا الکی گفتم. سانچیس والمونت آسیاییه سانچیس. حالا باشه دیگه زیاد حرف ندارم. جالب بود. آقای ادیتور لطفاً اون تیکی گاوی رو حذف کن. آره بعد همین دیگه. خیلی ممنون که ویدیو رو تماشا کردیم. پس اگه ویدیو رو دوست داشتین حتما این ویدیو رو لایک کنید، چنل منم سابسکرایب کنید، زنگوله بغلش هم بزنید. چه اینستاگرام من این بالا میاد، حتما یه طرفیات نمیدونم، حتما اونجا رو فالو کنید. توییتر، ردیت، تویچ توی دیسکریپشن هست، حتما به اونا سر بزنید. میتونید تو قسمت پلیلیست هر کدوم از ویدیوهایی که دوست داشتین ببینید. پس تا ویدیوهای بعدی